When I was 6, my grandfather passed away. I remember standing at the top of the stairs and barely turning my head to see my older sister and my mother crying and holding each other. I had knew what had happened, but I just couldn't muster the tears to cry or support them. At the funeral, I was merely in attendance, and my eyes, they dug into the ground to avoid revealing my absence of distress. Sure, I was young. I was just 6, but for a while, I was unbothered by the lack of emotion that I displayed during my grandfather's death. It wasn't until I was about 11, entering middle school and undergoing the many changes that time entails, when I was struck with the realization that there was something missing of myself: genuine sensitivity. I thought back to my grandfather's death, and I cried. And I still do this today because I so badly wished that I could have just been a little bit more sensitive at that time. I want us all to imagine a moment where we wish we could have been more emotional or maybe more comforting. If we could change something about that moment, what would we change? Would we maybe choose to become more sensitive? Now, I believe that everyone can be sensitive, but it's going to come down to our willingness to change, our willingness to incorporate seemingly little actions that make a huge and remarkable difference. And these changes include being conscious of our judgments, actively listening, empathizing, and turning those actions and steps into a routine. And these changes will bring us reimagined interactions, enhance existing relationships, and a clear mind and filled heart. Now, before I go into how we may do this exactly, I think it's very important that we acknowledge the present and impeding forces that prevent us from fully embracing our sensitivity. Unfortunately, sensitivity is not objective. Its term and experience is subjected to scrutiny, stereotypes, and misconception. Even the meaning of the word is baffling, as several definitions point to opposing definitions that give off contradicting connotations. Oftentimes, what we believe to be true mirrors the preconceived ideas that we are bred to believe. Many of us may have sensitivity defined for us, stemming from those stereotypes. To nobody's surprise, I'm sure, women are associated with displaying emotion more frequently and with more intensity than men, while boys are taught young to refrain from showing emotions or shedding a tear. Now, I'm not going to go into how we may uproot this stigma, but I do want to make it known a stigma like that is damaging and it's restraining, as several of us may be guarding just about the most enriching quality of ourselves based on what we're bred to believe. Because you see, sensitivity has a direct impact on the relationships we have in our lives. Since graduating from Georgia Tech, I have gained an incredible manager at work who goes out of her way to open her mind to other people's life experiences and foster an inclusive environment at work. She highlights different holidays that are important to us team members. She opens her mind to other people's opinions, and she checks in on us, both professionally and personally. Now, my manager's intentionality to foster inclusion in her relationships is a product of her sensitivity. And this quality is essential, crucial, I may say, when it comes to creating and nurturing relationships. Life is not meant to be experienced alone. We are all connected, and we live in this world crafted by our hands together. And to be the best versions of ourselves in this ever more connected world, we ought to be sensitive, caring, and seeking to provide comfort to others, being self-aware, forgiving, and accepting, balancing both our wants and our needs with the words, with the world's. Now, actions speak louder than words, right? And again, I believe everyone can be sensitive, but that is no easy feat without work. But it's worthwhile work, I promise. Fully embracing your sensitivity may seem daunting at first, but it will quickly feel intuitive, as sensitivity is something we have been practicing our entire lives. We may have just lost touch with it, and I'm excited to bring back what we may be missing. Now, the first step of enhancing and embracing our sensitivity is to consider beyond what meets our eyes. You see, our eyes are powerful, and just within seconds, they can capture a biased and surface-level understanding and assumption. We as humans, we're creatures of judgment, and this is something we must challenge. It is so easy to be comfortable, and to only be sensitive when it is comfortable. But what's the good in that? We ought to open our minds and make conscious efforts to form opinions that may undermine and challenge that bias. The next step is listening. And I'm not talking about the listening you may do when you're waiting for your to-go order to be ready. Yeah, that doesn't count, because we cannot be selectively listening, only in tune to when it's convenient. It takes being present and being able to zero in on the hero of our conversation. Because when we do this, we pick up on the pains, the gains, the main attraction that's occupying someone's mind. And this active listening paves the way to the next step of enhancing and embracing our sensitivity. Empathy. Empathy is the action of understanding a situation from the perspective of another. When we're empathetic, we are compassionate, and we're able to vicariously experience someone's thoughts and feelings. When we do this, we make people feel noticed. We make people feel celebrated and valued. And with empathy, we're able to extend our heart's capacity to offer someone company. And the final step of enhancing and embracing our sensitivity is turning these actions and steps above into a seamless routine. A routine that's embedded into our minds and exhibited through our actions, as that is going to dramatically impact how we view and how we react to our world. If we could turn practicing sensitivity into automatic behavior, that would be an admirable achievement. Now you may wonder, Liz, what exactly will these intentional actions amount to? What will this change bring us? This change will bring reimagined interactions, because every interaction has the potential to be a meaningful one. But so many of us have our eyes down, staring at our phones, and when it's our turn to finally interact with the world, we merely look up and we perform a transaction. And all that is a fleeting moment. When we are sensitive, we are more attentive, we're more interactive with our environment. And when we are sensitive, we're able to add simple nuances that transform these seemingly monotonous interactions, like conversing with the man that's making our sandwich. Let's get to know him. What's his name? Richard. Now, where's Richard from? He's from Philadelphia. Maybe Richard and I will get to know each other, and maybe we'll leave the deli counter laughing and in a better mood and energy than what we came to the deli counter in. This change will also bring us enhanced existing relationships. When we listen and when we're present, we foster quality time. Simple as that. We foster an essential love language of many. Because when we do this, we're able to form deeper relationships that are open and fulfilling. We become people that our loved ones can confide in and receive heartfelt support from. Whether it's navigating a sibling through a breakup or a friend through an unsettling time, we're exceptionally there. And finally, this change will bring us a clear mind and filled heart. I'm aware that with sensitivity, we may absorb the world and its triumphs and struggles. And sometimes I too feel heavy from caring so much, from being susceptible to so much. But I have realized that this added weight is really coming from my heart filling up. Sensitivity teaches us how to handle life's twists and turns and our own personal decisions. We're able to celebrate the little wins in our lives and find peace in our decisions. We may be more likely to forgive ourselves and of others, and we are less likely to hold grudges or resent a person. And maybe we sometimes expect the unexpected. We hold little expectations because the unpredictability of life just provides that much more to enjoy and experience. With all the positive change that sensitivity brings, what are we waiting for? Imagine that moment again, the one you wish you could have changed. Now picture improving that moment. Picture being sensitive. We ought to open our minds and our hearts to the intention for change, because as Winston Churchill once said, to improve is to change, and to be perfect is to change often. We may not be the best versions of ourselves, and heck, we may never be. But being sensitive gets us closer to being the best versions of ourselves in this ever more connected world. Thank you.